Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle Desrochers and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network, UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 from the Gulf Coast and 107.7 FM from New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey for quite a few years now. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you so very much. Also, big thank you to Justin Snicker, aka Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for the contribution of his voice, his time, and his music for the intro that you just heard. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween horror and dark wave electronic music. God, I was tongue-tied again, happens. Anyway, find him on all of your favorite music streaming platforms. He's constantly got stuff coming out, and it's just awesome stuff. So also, lastly, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the banners and logos here at the show. Check him out on Facebook. Check him out on Instagram. He also specializes in the horror genre and does amazing commission pieces of all sorts. So tonight, we welcome back Dan and Teresa Duke, the great-grandchildren of Jesse James. And they basically were on this journey to find out all of this information about their great-grandfather. And they've been on the show a lot of times talking about this. And they often spoke of this incredible gifted lady named Heather Messer. So tonight, we are introducing for the first time, along with Dan and Teresa, Heather Messer. And she's going to be talking about her contribution to this incredible journey and how her mediumship was the avenue for all of this. So I can't tell you how many stories I have like that, which of course I'll keep to myself because it's not all about me. But right? it is not. But I'll tell you something. The dead, the deceased, they do still want to help you. And I'll tell you, my grandfather was the one who was instrumental in pushing me down a little harder, to move a little quicker about our lineage. And, so many times it was validated by different mediums that I have worked with, and right down to spirit paintings that I had done when I was in Louisville. Just, oh yeah, incredible stuff. And everything always kept coming full circle. So when Dan and Teresa mentioned this, I thought, of course, it's brilliant because it's incredible. Why not?
We love having them on.
I know.
We do. We love having them on.
I know. No, we love the Dukes. And we know we're going to love Heather because Jack and John are friends. They love Heather. Teresa
So
and Dan
we're going to love
Heather.
Heather.
We're going to love Heather. I know. It's just the way it's going to be. So, I know. But a lot of people are chiming in. Guys, remember that we are on 8 different platforms simultaneously. And every platform has a chat room aside from Roku TV. Roku TV does not have a chat room. So again, it's like that super highway coming down into one very crazy congested lane. So, and there's Jack. Hello, Jack from last night. That's right. That's right.
We do. We're in a love bubble.
I know. See, look at this. Heather's already got a fan club in there. That's wonderful.
Nice.
We love it.
We'll help her with our wackiness.
I know. It's nice. Everybody's
Michael.
already chiming in, which is great. Hello, Mark. Hello. Oh my God. Hi, Janie, Contessa, Ellen. Hello, Dolly.
Ooh,
sorry, Dolly. I seriously, every time I say hello,
I want to sing it.
I know. It's close.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Amelia. Sing it.
No, I'm not going to sing.
with
I
you.
haven't warmed up. Can you hear my voice cracking? And we're just talking.
I know.
I sing.
I know.
Everybody's going to lose their headsets.
We are just waiting for everybody to come in, and then we'll bring everyone in at the same
I'll
time.
use the famous finger. If you're listening, my index finger, because I'm holding up. No, because there's going to be 5 of us on. So
That's right.
I don't want to interrupt.
All right. Well, I will watch you because it was tough with even with 4.
It is. It is.
It's okay. I know. I swear I was having a little bit of a lag last night too. That was just from my end. So
no, me too. And
Sometimes
sometimes I had feedback, like I had an echo.
right. Maybe it's just the soundboard. I don't know. It has these hiccups because we are many shows here at the United Public Radio, and there's a lot of shows in queue. And I swear it just jams everything up. So
hi, Kathy. Hi, Ellen.
Aw.
Hi, Woo
Well, Alan,
Writers.
we're happy to hear that. And Alan, you haven't heard the Dukes on before because you're new to the chat room.
Yeah,
so
they're
this is gonna be
lovely.
a lot of new information from you.
Yeah, you're going to want to listen to every podcast they've been on. They're lovely.
You will. And we are currently waiting on Teresa.
And what a cool story.
It is. It's a great story. But
Right?
I love it. It's a wonderful story.
Yep.
You know,
I look like I have a flat head here. Okay.
Sorry.
It's my bangs. You can see my hair over here, but it looks like I have a flat head.
I have a fan on, so it's always bugging me. So I'm always like,
I have the fan too. That's why you'll see me like touching my face and everything, and my
that one little hair. It's always
goes into my lipstick.
I know. All right. So our guests are here. We're going to bring them on in without further ado. We have Dan. Hi, Dan. Teresa.
Hi. Hi, Heather.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey. It's nice to meet Heather finally.
Yep.
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. And Dan and Teresa, well, you guys are just like family now. So
I missed you guys a couple of times. I'm so sorry.
I look forward when y'all.
I look so forward to it when you guys are on. Like seriously, I felt really bad missing it.
Well, yeah, I was wondering if I was going to make it today. I had a kidney stone last night. I was in the ER, and I thought, God, I hope I make it. And anyway, so I made it.
Everything's fine. Against you.
How are you feeling now? I mean, I've had kidney stones. Those aren't easy.
Yeah, they're bad. I feel great now.
Wow. Teresa doesn't look concerned at all.
Leave it to Danny to live on the edge like that.
Yeah.
I have 3 brothers, so I get it, Teresa.
Coming in with a bang. So guys, welcome back. Heather, welcome for your first time here on the show. My goodness. We've been looking forward to it because, Dan and Teresa have spoken so highly of you. Mind you, so have Jack and John.
Yesterday.
Instrumental, but I've had meetings with them and they're just like, I feel like I know you very, very well. So
yeah, it's so sweet. And it's fun. It's nice to finally meet you.
Yes.
And it was nice that you dipped into the chat room yesterday. We love that.
Yes, always. I'm their biggest fan.
No, they adore you because Jack's in the chat room. He already came in to say hi. Yeah.
Yes. And hopefully John will make his way. Show some support. So
yeah. Stay right here, Dan.
Giving me some
maybe Danny is having some effects still from the pain medication. No.
I know. It's quite infatuated.
Are you sharing?
With the camera?
I was flying last night. Last night I told them before I went to the ER, I thought maybe a shot of rum will help. So I drank some rum. It didn't help.
And then I drank. I'll go to emergency with liquor.
Yeah. Well, I had 2 beers and 2 shots of rum. And then I told them when I got there, and they still gave me 2 different painkillers, including morphine and some other stuff. And I was flying. So
yeah.
You should have been in the chat room while you were waiting.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
You did pop in. So this was after our show.
Yeah. It was crazy.
Okay.
for anybody who's new who's listening in, why don't we do a really quick recap on your research and how you brought Heather in, and we'll introduce her that way, and then let her tell her story. And you guys could just go back and forth. You know how it is. We just like to sit back and let you guys take the stage.
Okay.
All right. You're on. Let's recap a little bit on your journey. Talking about, of course, Jesse James and how you're connected, because we do have new people listening tonight, including in the chat room, right? And then you can let us know how Heather became a part of your journey.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. It started with our late mother, Betty Dorset Duke. She always, growing up, she always heard that at family get-togethers that Jesse James faked his death, came to Texas, and lived his life as an old man in Central Texas, in Falls County, Texas, in a little town called Blevins. Now it's just a old collapsed general store and a cemetery. But anyway, so she'd heard that story, and that he was her great grandfather. And so she grew up, there's no reason to doubt everybody in your family when they're saying that, until she got into school, and the history books had a completely different story, saying that he was shot in the back of the head by Robert Ford, Bob and Charlie Ford, and that he died in St. Joseph, Missouri, betrayed by his own gang members, etc. And that was the end of the story, according to official history. So she always wondered which story's right. Somebody, only one story can be right. They both can't be right. After Teresa and I got into college, Mom had a lot more time on her hands, so she took that time to find the answers. And she started doing all her research, got the family photographs. And not only did we think the photographs matched, she took them to the top experts, Texas Department of Public Safety. They're our state police. They verified within their forensics department that our photographs matched Jesse, historically accepted photographs of Jesse and his family members. And then she took it to the Austin Police Department. They verified the same thing. And then there was a third group at the time called Visionics. Then they were bought out by a company called Identix, but they were world leaders in facial recognition technology, sold their technology to the military and international airports. They verified the same thing, that our family photos matched the historically accepted photos. And so Mom she thought, and we all thought at the time, that the James Farman Museum in Missouri would be thrilled to know that he didn't die at the hands of Bob and Charlie Ford, that he faked his death. They didn't want to hear anything about it. They were real rude about it, and just kind of, they didn't want to hear it. So Mom thought, well, okay. She kept researching, all the records, federal census records, birth certificates, death certificates. We had the diary and a treasure map passed down through the family. The diary was a huge help because it lists known gang members. Jesse's got his signature in it on one page, and on another page he wrote his initials, JWJ. And they even mention locations he went to, where he was there the same day a stage was robbed, in the same location, same day, stuff like that. They'd go on robbing sprees, and every place he was, there would be multiple robberies, a steamship, stagecoaches, stuff like that. So and just all the evidence we had, and I'm trying not to go too long on this, because there's a million rabbit holes, but all the evidence we had pointed to that was Jesse. He did fake his death. But when you're when you've got the truth, but the official story, according to history books, is the lie, it is extremely hard to change. You're not changing history, you're correcting history. Yeah, but it's a long battle to fight. On top of that, we had death threats from people who were associated with the James Farm Museum in Missouri. And the death threats, fortunately, the FBI took care of that, and that got taken care of. But it was just, we always wondered why so many why all this resistance against about an old West outlaw? It didn't make sense. And we started looking deeper into that, trying to find out why they would do that. I know one reason may be in the late 90s, that museum was bringing in $7 million a year in a very poor county.
That would do it.
So that
They always follow the money. Yeah.
But the real story is just so much more exciting than the made up story. You would think that they would be happy to have that new information.
Well, they went further to try to debunk Mom, and they couldn't. Everything they tried backfired on them. Mom had the truth.
Debunked them.
Yeah, she debunked them. They're
with the DNA results.
Yep.
She went in there and she really did a thorough investigation and found numerous the inconsistencies with their DNA results. And I think that just kind of stirred up the hornet's nest.
Yeah. And it ended up.
Thankfully she did, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And the way it ended, Mom had more proof. Teresa and I helped her research the whole time, but we always give the credit. Mom was the one who spearheaded the whole thing. And she has, by the time she passed away, she had more proof than the James Farman Museum has ever had. And everything they claim they have, she's debunked.
Yep.
So
good for Mom.
And then
we met. She really was.
Mom should have been an FBI agent.
Oh, she was.
Yeah,
she was incredibly brilliant. She
has the natural ability to keep digging. Yeah. And the intuition to keep going.
According to the DNA doctor, we also have DNA from a known descendant of Jesse's mother, and it matches with Mom's DNA, proving a very close relationship.
Yeah.
He said we would, to get it to, dot all your I's and cross all your T's, we would need to not exhume, but get DNA testing from the graves of each relative from Mom up to Jesse. Just to beyond the shadow of a doubt. And that's not easy. No. Especially we tried to have that done, and half the family it turns out they'd sold out to some people years ago. And there were also small town Baptists who they weren't too ashamed to take Jesse's money, but they didn't want anybody knowing who they were related to. So they fought us in court saying it was a violation of the sanctity of the grave. But they had no problem exhuming another relative and having him moved to the Texas Ranger Hall of Fame in Waco.
Go get
Texas.
him, Dan.
Yeah. So
priorities.
Just thinking of that always made me mad. But
of course it does. Of course it does.
Yeah, it would have been a new legal battle each step of the way. We've already got all the proof. We could do it if we had the financial backing, but that would take years of legal battles to finally get all of that done.
Especially if you have them pushing back on you. It's not going to go through. No,
and you never know about some of the death threats. Yeah. I mean, some of those people were dead serious about killing us. So, there's that. We don't get scared of that. My mom, always admired her. They would send her a threat. They called on the phone and she said, "Look, I live in Texas. We have the right to defend ourselves, so come and talk to me."
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
But anyway, that after all of that,
go ahead, make my day.
Yeah. She was a tough character.
She really was.
The way we met Heather, my ex-girlfriend. I was living in Marshall, Texas, working for the city up there, and my ex-girlfriend, before we broke up, I was. She'd met Heather and introduced me and Heather, and Heather and I ended up being best friends. So it all worked out.
Right.
That's
Everything
nice.
happens for a reason.
Yeah.
It's like fate.
I was extremely skeptical at the beginning when I first met Heather. I thought, and I was real touchy. My mom had died. She died right in front of us. There was no warning. Nobody knew anything. She had any problems. She had an aneurysm and basically, dropped in front of us.
Yeah.
So, for some reason, I know why it was my mother, but it was extremely traumatic for me. And I didn't like anybody talking about my mom, good, bad, anything. I just didn't want to hear it. And then when Heather had, I think Debbie, my ex-girlfriend, had told me that Heather had a message from Mom, I was extremely skeptical. And I thought, I don't even want to hear it. I thought about not even going. But then I thought, no, I got to go. So I went, and I remember going to the bar, and I got a shot of bourbon. And I thought, okay, now I can handle this. So
Heather's used to that, right, Heather? You're used to that. You're used to.
I think it's hilarious,
especially with men. It's very common. So you got the message when you were supposed to get it.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she told me things about Mom that nobody else would have known. Not only Mom, but even an aunt that I had who passed away. And I'd never told anybody about this aunt. And Heather said there's a lady named Susan, and she's telling you this. And I thought, oh my God, it just blew my mind. And,
well, your mom knew that you needed validation.
Yeah.
So she sent Heather. Amazing.
And now we're best buddies. So.
Best buddies.
Nice.
Heather, how did you react to all this? Because I mean, when you met Dan at first, and then of course Teresa, did Jesse James kind of get in there and say, hey, you know, we've got to set the record straight? Or did he just totally hang back and you had to wait for them to come forward and say, okay, we have a plan, we have this thing we have to do? How did that go for you?
Yeah, so Dana and I actually met at a luncheon. We were all getting together. It was us and then a couple more friends. And so I told him the message and everything. But like Jack and John were talking about last night, there's a soul connection. And it was a very strong soul connection. And and that was the first time I ever met him. I'm like, there is something about this man that is stronger than what is, you know, this human form that we have. And so, but like talking to Frank James, I've talked to Frank before, and he's around all the time, especially when I'm talking to Dan and Teresa,
right?
And relays messages, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful connection. And I'm so thankful that I've met both of them.
Oh,
that's how we feel about you, Heather.
Oh,
okay, John, Jack, time to chime in.
Don't make me cry. I cry very easily. Don't do that. I cry at the drop of a pin. It's ridiculous.
I do too.
It's
interesting that Frank is around because, like I always told Danny, I wish we know a lot more about Jesse throughout history and not enough about Frank. And it's interesting that he's around because I would love to, like, he's like another connection that we've always discussed trying to find more information on. So it's really cool that he's around.
Yeah, it's really cool. Like whenever, you know, Dan or Teresa have questions, Dan has more questions than Teresa does. So
no.
Whenever he asks his questions,
I don't believe you.
Frank will try to answer them, you know, to the best of his ability.
Yes.
But I think there's been a lot of clarity that, you know, that Dan has been awoken to, and I mean, it opened his eyes to different things.
Yeah.
Good.
Here we go. There he is.
Dan is the man, and Teresa rocks too.
Teresa,
that big giant love bubble.
Yeah.
We're trying to talk about a Western criminal here from history, Jack.
I know.
There's just way too much love.
I totally believe that.
We think Jack's awesome too.
Pardon?
We think Jack's awesome too.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, they're great. They're great. You guys are all great.
Fun. We had them on yesterday.
It's a nice niche. Yeah. So I'm finding out that, you know, everything is so connected. But I've always believed that, you know, obviously life goes on and that they are still very present in our lives. You know, just briefly, I think I explained to you guys, like my grandfather's the one that set me off on this whole shindig, and he's been gone for about 30 years. So it's like, go to France. Okay, Grandpa, I'll go to France. But not this time. He goes, I'm going to Romania. Why are you going there? You got to go to France. Okay. You know, but it was always the push. And I think it's great when people like yourselves and Jack
Yeah, it's always it's okay. He told us he's a hopeless romantic. I don't think it's hopeless. I think it's sweet.
No.
It's sweet. Yeah.
But I like that they have stepped outside of the box to, to embrace the fact that you have this incredible ability and you've got wonderful contributions. And without those contributions, that maybe the journey would not have gone in certain directions or happened as quick. Would you guys all agree with that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. You bring Heather on, and what was the first matter at hand? You had all these questions, and I don't want to, pry, but I'm going to because it's a show.
I don't want to pry, but yeah.
What kind of questions did you have for Heather, considering that you're on this quest pretty much, and you have this information? Where do you go with that?
Well, when you're researching Jesse especially, and all of the gang members, it's real hard. There's a lot of areas that will probably never have the gap filled. Just questions, like wood height, for example. We know Jesse wasn't buried in the grave as Jesse; it was his cousin, and we believe strongly. We've got a lot of evidence to show that Wood Height, Jesse's first cousin, was buried in his place. There's no known grave of Wood Height, even though he came from a wealthy family in Kentucky, and they're a real close family. They would have wanted to bury him. So we wondered, why is there no grave of Wood? We knew Wood was killed around the same time Jesse was allegedly killed, but we didn't have any facts. There's no facts to prove who that is in the grave, although we think it's Wood Height. Heather verified that it's Wood Height. And after everything else she'd told us, I have no reason to doubt Heather. Of course, it's not DNA testing, but at the same time, it was great to have the verification from another source. And not only that, there was also a lady I know, and I can't tell any details on this just to protect the property that a certain item is located at. But I'll try to tell as much as I can about that without giving up the location or names. But there's a lady we know, and when she was a kid, she was digging around her husband's ancestors' property. And it's still a big house with a lot of outhouses around it. And one of the outhouses, it was a little cabin for visitors and guests. That outhouse had a letter. When she was a kid, she noticed a loose floorboard in the old cabin. So she pried it up, and there was a letter from Jesse to her ancestor, from Jesse James to her ancestor, who was also a well-known historical figure. But anyway, that and a pair of reading glasses with it that allegedly belonged to Jesse's mother. So, she told us about it. The guy who owns the property is extremely paranoid of everything, everybody, and it's hard to get anything out of him. But I was just curious. I asked Heather a little bit about it, and she filled in the blanks. The same story. She knew exactly where it is and what it is, and that blew my mind. I mean, stuff like that. Nobody knows about this except the lady who told me. There's no way Heather could have known. I mentioned it, and she filled in the rest of the story, just
Heather
like I'd heard.
Chosen to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I do believe that too.
Absolutely, you were.
Yeah, because Dan and Teresa are part of our soul group.
Yeah,
of my soul group.
Yeah, clearly the energy jives very nicely. Like it just flows so well. It's just like extremely.
We need someone like Heather in it. She's logical and keeps us grounded.
Right?
I don't see you not being grounded, Teresa, ever.
Maybe it's one of those things where you say we, but you only really mean one person, and in this case, it would be Dan. You're saying we. You're not centering anybody out.
I love having Heather around because she really does help keep us grounded.
I love that.
Poor Dad. He's like, I'm gonna go back to emerge.
Yeah.
Give me my whiskey.
Give me my whiskey.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
So Heather,
Go back to the ER.
Oh my gosh.
did you find yourself at all having like really pertinent information that maybe you weren't supposed to give, and or maybe you're holding on to and just like ready to for the right time? Because it's happened with me with people. Well, I wasn't supposed to say it then, but there's something coming. It's just like, shut up, tell me now. I can't wait. I'm that kind of person. I don't like surprises. I don't want to wait for anything. But did you find yourself in that situation at all while on this journey with these two?
No, not with these two. They, Frank, and several other people that I've talked to, they're kind of just ready and willing they're excited to talk, and
Right.
so
Right.
whatever they want, that's, I'm going to say it.
Right.
Yeah, they've
Well, I
waited
guess,
so
yeah,
long.
Yeah, they've waited so long to say it. They must be so excited just to have family. Like, were they excited that, or in this case, Frank, excited that his family is actually setting the record straight?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. And even though they did, in today's standards, very horrible things,
Yes. Yeah.
it was a playground for them and they had fun and it was just a joy. And so they're overly excited to share the things that they've done and the treasures and the notes and the, everything. And so it's always really fun to talk to them. I've never talked to Jesse. That is because if you've been reincarnated, I can't hear you.
Wow.
And so according to Frank, Jesse has been reincarnated.
That would be quick.
And yeah, really quick. But he has some lessons to learn. And so, but it would have been really nice to be able to talk to him. But Frank will do, I guess.
Do
Right.
we know
Frank.
his reincarnation? Has Frank shared that? Would Frank know? What Jesse was reincarnated as? Like, do you get that information at all from Frank? Would he know, or is this something that we're just not told?
Oh, he knows. Yeah.
Okay.
He knows.
Cool.
Yes. God,
Yeah, I wanted
quick.
the name, but she won't give me the name.
See, that's one of those things
No,
I'm talking about.
You'll get the
Getting
information that you need
information
to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But they don't even give me the name because they know if they give me the name, then I'm going to tell Dan and Teresa.
Yeah. And when the time is right, if it's meant to be, Heather will give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
If
I
it's meant to
trust
be,
her
it might not
completely.
be anything to do, that's his journey, right? It's his atonement. So
And who knows if my involvement, if I found out the name, I would want to meet them.
that's why they haven't told you. They're well aware.
Exactly. And that
She
could
could tell
throw
Teresa,
a
and
lot of.
Teresa would just keep her mouth shut. But
Well, I would, in my opinion, that could throw a lot of timelines off. If I'm not
absolutely, absolutely.
Right.
And in a reincarnation, you don't always know who you were, so you could really disrupt somebody's life.
You'd have to send Heather over to his house. Maybe he reincarnated as a woman. Then what would you do?
Well, I do know that he is reincarnated as of course, he's a child right now, and he's a male.
Right.
That would be hell on wheels.
Yeah, I wonder if he's like with his diaper and his little guns,
Right.
Maybe he's complete opposite. Maybe he's going towards priesthood.
Maybe.
You never know.
His father was a priest.
Well, you just never know, right? Like, who knows? I mean, he's got a lot of lessons to learn. So, and we don't know how many lives he's reincarnated. So,
But we say that everything that we've learned from you guys about Jesse and everything that pertains to his connections with, Templars and Freemasonry and things like that, and people in power, it looks like he had a much bigger role to play than what you read in the history books that were clearly not all right anyway. But it really goes much deeper than that. So,
lots of rabbit holes.
Right.
Oh, isn't there always?
Well, that's why.
It's weird to say, but I got to meet Butch Cassidy through Heather. And
See?
that was
How cool is that?
So cool.
Butch likes he likes stirring the pot. He likes to give you a hard time. And he was giving me a hard time. So I started mouthing off back to him. And then this was over the phone. And right after I said something, I felt I felt a hand patting me on the back of the head. And I thought, oh my God,
Yeah.
that freaked me out. I was like, damn, but I didn't. Anyway, he's a lot of fun. I like it.
Aw,
Right.
that is so cool.
And
Yeah.
he had a good connection to Frank and Jesse, obviously.
Yes, they're subgroups.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay.
It's kind of
Well,
weird. I'm feeling energy now. I don't know if there's anything to that, but I'm feeling something really strong right now.
Well,
Yeah.
we're kind of having this kumbaya moment, so maybe
Yeah.
somebody's trying to jump in on the interview.
Yeah.
So feel free to chime in if you're getting
You just
anything. Heather.
never know, right?
Yeah.
So,
I will
It's
say that
really
your mom is there.
strong,
Yeah.
warm, tingly feeling all over my face. So
So your mom
That's
is here,
interesting.
and then Amelia's father is here.
Oh, thank you for
aw,
that.
yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I know. See, it's nice.
Yep.
It's nice when you have family close like that. So,
Amelia, he
yeah.
wants you to know that he's going to be waiting with flowers in his hand for you.
You're gonna make me cry. Thank you. He
here we
gave me
go.
roses
Bubbles
for
is going to
every.
start. Right.
He gave me roses for every occasion, and the rose was named Amelia, and I put that on my cover thing. So, like, you're gonna make me cry. Thank you for that, though.
Are they
Yeah,
white roses?
they're white with blush. Yeah, yeah.
Aw.
My whole life, I miss him a lot.
You want some biscotti too.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the last thing that we brought him. It was biscotti and cannoli because he was in lockdown. He didn't pass from COVID, but he passed that year. But thank you for that.
At the hospital.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good now.
definitely.
He's fine.
I know. You know what? He used to always say, if I just lived to 90, I would be so happy. And he did. He lived just a few months past that. It was just so sad, like anyone who was torn from their families that year. Like, here
Oh,
I'm going,
yeah.
sorry. But thank you for that. I never get to have things like this happen for me, and I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Might feel like just have to hug you.
I'm gonna bawl my
Bubbles.
eyes out. Yeah.
I always
know.
say, like, I don't do anything. I just can hear them, and I
Yeah.
just, what they say, but it all goes to them.
He's always here. He's unbelievable. He's here a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that he's aware that I'm aware.
So that's
'Cause-
probably like the love that we're feeling is them.
Oh, it's
Aw.
beautiful.
Really feeling it.
Yeah. And he's all over my office. Like I have this La Pietà statue of Mary with Jesus that was on one of the corners of his casket behind me, as well as a rosary that I had laying on him, and his photo is right in front of me. So he's definitely everywhere. I just hope he has Versace. No, the dog. I hope he has him, because he told me that, like, when we put him down, he said, I'm going to come and get him. And I'm like, oh God, I have to put him down.
Ah,
Yeah.
I'll have his hands full.
Yeah, but he loved him, and the dog loved my dad. They were just kindred spirits. I have a photo of my father with a bow tie and the dog with a bow tie. It's like the cutest thing. Yeah, it's the cutest
Dream
thing.
match.
And he was my best friend. So yeah, thank you for that. Now I'm going to take up the whole show. Forget Jesse James.
This is interesting.
I never get this. So thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got, obviously your journey is ongoing, right? You're still delving. At least that's how we
Yeah.
left it last time. We're still delving. So journey continues. Heather, how are you still working with the Dukes? I mean, I'm sure it's just constant like this. Is mom right in there saying, okay, you guys, you have to do this, and this, because she's more recent too, right? So she's
Yeah.
going to be very present in what you guys are up to now.
Mom always has something to say all the time. She's not very shy. I
No.
know where Dan gets it from. He gets it from her. And so, and she's like, if I'm not listening to her, because I try to turn it off every once in a while, and just have a regular conversation. But then she's in the corner of the room going,
That's
She used to snap at me all the time. She would always snap at me. God.
But that's important to make that connection. Heather needs to know that, so that you're aware and you pay attention and you listen to her direction.
Yeah.
Right.
That
So
is wild.
yeah.
But it just goes to show that mom is also a part of this whole soul connection, because she feels as though she can do this to Heather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pay attention to me. I'm speaking to you.
Yeah.
That's the first time I ever told Dan about the snapping.
I'd never heard that yet. Wow.
Yeah.
She used to snap at me all the time, and if she's snapping at you, she likes you.
Right. There you go.
She wouldn't do that to somebody she didn't like.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But she'll give direction to Dan and Teresa, and encouraging words and things like that. Because I know with the rabbit holes, there's frustration, there's agitation, about not getting anywhere. But she's just like, keep going. You're on the right track. You're doing the right thing.
Right.
And overall, it's about the love that she has for her children still.
Mm-hmm.
And our personalities go with us whenever we go transition to the other side, and that love and everything that she still has for them is still there.
Mm-hmm. Very strong, for sure. Mother's nothing like the love of a mother,
Yes.
No.
So, so has she been able to give you more information? Is she herself, is she still on her journey of discovery with all of this as well? Because now, you can see everything, you can hear everything, you can pop in and kind of see, those people who were threatening me.
She's well aware of the people that were threatening her,
Yeah.
and she says some things about that and some names and about the things that they've done, and it's going to continue as long as they're on the right path.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I don't worry about them.
Pardon?
I never worry about them. I used to worry that they were going to kill my mom or my sister, and I still worry about Teresa. But personally, I just don't worry about the detractors, the death threats and stuff like that. So,
Well, you can carry in the States, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I'd be carrying.
I do.
Yeah.
Let it be known. No.
Yeah.
Right.
Right now, I wish we had that law in Canada. Don't email me. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Right.
That goes down a whole different rabbit hole. But looking at recent news in different places around the world, I always think, God, I'm glad I'm in Texas.
Yes. All places to be. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can hold your own in Texas. That's.
I wish we had y'all's weather, but I like the laws we have. So.
But the problem with Texas is it's also the main center of child sex trafficking. That's where all of them come in and out of. So it's it's a big problem.
It is coming across the border.
Yeah.
And I don't want to.
They're also being shipped out to containers and things like that in containers. It's a whole other show. It's a whole other show.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a bit dire. Yeah. As it is. Yeah. Okay. So where do you want to take it next, Dan and Teresa? We've talked about so much. So, let's continue on with where it is that you were going. What roadblocks did you guys hit? I'll try to pull it along. What roadblocks, if any, did you guys hit where you know that you had to go to Heather, and how did she shed light on it for you?
Well, there's one thing. There's a lot of questions. There's a million questions about Jesse, his family members, cousins, hell, even the Pinkertons who were after. I love talking with Heather when Butch is around about the Pinkertons.
Right.
But there's a lot of questions, like the treasures, for example. I
Right.
know there's a lot of treasure out there that was buried. Jesse buried a lot, plus he was mixed in with, Freemasonry and other groups that tie, my first book, tying it back to the Templar treasures from the temple in Jerusalem that were brought, some of which was brought to the New World. When I ask about treasures, I don't get an answer from, Frank, Butch, any of them. And that always frustrates me. There's a part of me that understands it, but then there's the bratty side of me. I want answers. So, but
Bratty side.
Yeah.
So, did Heather?
With the money, and the treasures and all that, it doesn't mean anything to Frank and them anymore. Money is nothing. That's just our human side.
So that would make a lot of sense. But isn't it part of that journey of discovery, though?
I wish that they would tell me where the treasures were, because I would go without Dan and go get them. But
oh man,
I was like, wait, what? Is that
like having Heather on our team. I love it.
They're changing their phone numbers right now, Heather.
No, I love it.
You would, Teresa.
Teresa's like, come on in. Yeah. Oh, here we go.
I love that.
Wow.
I love that.
Oh,
That's
my
funny.
God. So that's just something that you're never going to be made privy to, at least not by Heather.
I'll ask Heather to ask Butch where the treasures are, and Butch loves giving you a hard time.
Oh, he said you
he wants to know what his cut's going to be, stuff like that. And I'll tell him, I'll give you half. We'll split it down the middle, and I never get an answer. He's not going to tell me. He just likes giving me a hard time. So
I think too that maybe they're also limited to what they're allowed to say. I remember, like, I've had deceased people talk to me, and there have been times where there's somebody with them who's like, stop, like, don't give too much information. My grandfather was like one of these, and there was always this woman. My grandmother used to talk about it. She goes, oh, that woman was with him, which I think was his guide. And my grandmother had no patience for it, but I would hear her chastising my grandfather for telling me too much. So is that the same situation? Like, maybe your journey is only supposed to go in a certain direction and not beyond that, because maybe it will alter your own life in a way that maybe it's not supposed to.
That makes perfect sense. There's that, and I've also wondered, a lot of those particular treasures, not all of it, but a lot of the treasures that tie back to the Templar also belong to different esoteric traditions, Muslim traditions, Jewish traditions, and Christian stuff that's sacred to different groups. And I don't really think a sacred treasure needs to be, just dug up and go buy a yacht. So I'd love to have a yacht, but and I know it sounds corny, but I tell a lot of people, most of those treasures, in my opinion, belongs to the world.
Yeah, but the world's not ready for it yet.
Treasures already sitting in private collections.
Yeah.
I know of, some, but with that being said, I think the true, as they would say, holy relics, which is what Templars were known to be keepers of. The Sinclairs were the keepers of holy relics as well. Those are the kind of things that get dispersed when I say when the world is ready, when they seem to know when this is supposed to be a thing. And I don't think it'll ever be a thing. Not in my lifetime.
You have to pry most of it out of the Vatican, so it's a tough one.
Yeah, there's a lot.
That church would have to be gone.
Yeah, the politics and the power that comes with it, and somebody letting go of that, it would take a real shakeup for something like that to happen.
Yeah. I just feel like the world's not ready for all of it. It's going to take a lot of time.
Yeah, I agree.
Not meaning Jesse James. I'm meaning like the Templars and all of those
Yeah.
treasures and everything. The world's not ready to hear the whole story, which is why they had to, protect Mary Magdalene to begin with.
Yeah. Yeah, that side of it, I agree completely.
Yeah.
Now, Bessie, see, that's what always blew our minds. Mom, too. We start out researching an Old West outlaw, and then it ties in with all this other, the Templar treasures, bloodlines, things like that. It blew our minds. It's like every step of the way, you end up, you just uncover things that ties into things I never knew about until we uncovered it. I feel like I'm tongue tied on this, but I'm trying not to say too much while getting my point across. But you start from an Old West outlaw, and in the treasure map that passed down through the family, we thought it at most might be a saddlebag with some silver and gold coins. And it's like we stumbled onto this massive treasure conspiracy that spans multiple centuries. All the way back to Christ and maybe before. So it's very
I would say definitely before.
Yeah, you're 100 centuries before.
Yeah.
So back into the Ark of the Covenant, where they were believed to have been several. They know where most of them are.
Yeah.
Right.
And how many?
I know they know. And that's way before.
Yeah.
Christ. You're going back to the Temple of Solomon. You're going back, for the Ark, but there are things that even belong into the Temple of David, which, of course, when it comes to, Israel, they don't acknowledge anything after the Temple of David.
That's true.
So they're sitting on stuff that they have excavated that will never see the light of day because they don't care about it. It doesn't fit with
their narrative.
Exactly.
Wow.
I know.
That's true.
So, there's a lot of things to think about. So how much made it here to the New World, and Heather, of course, they're obviously not telling you where they are, but have they showed you images of anything that may have worked its way over? Heather's like, I'm not talking now. Are you kidding?
Yeah. I know
that you can say. Don't feel pressured. That you can say. Yeah.
So my spirit guide, whenever we talk about Templar treasures and things from the Vatican and things like that, she's like, if you got a hold of it, you'd be dead within a week.
Now, I think anybody, right? They would know.
Yeah.
You can't even remote view it. Like, it's so well protected.
But she has
some of that, sure.
Yeah, I don't know how to remote view, but she has shown me things like third eye stuff, like chalices and documents and things like that. And she said where they were, but she's like, don't do that.
No, that's what I mean by like if someone tries to remote view it, you have to remember there are other things that are concealing it as well. It's not just glass walls, right? So I don't even believe that everything in the Library of Alexandria was burned.
I don't either.
Of course not.
I believe it was distributed. So all about distractions, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
maybe transferred to the Vatican.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Oh, we know there's a lot.
We just don't know what is in there. And it goes on for something like 35 kilometers or 50 kilometers under the city. That's why you have to remember Vatican is locked down at 9 o'clock at night with their own policing. There's a reason for that,
But also remember, let's use Templars for an example. Sometimes, just because you pass, you see that your family on the other side are still coming forward, and they're communicating with Heather to give you this information. I don't doubt that there are still Templars or soldiers or people who started their journey in life protecting this stuff. This doesn't stop because the vehicle stops working. They'll find another way.
Oh yeah.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right on that. I know that for a fact, Teresa. our mom was contacted, and now we're friends with one guy. Not going to say his name or anything other than you're exactly right. There's they are charged to protect a lot of things, and they'll protect it by any means.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And that certainly doesn't change. And it goes through bloodlines.
Yeah. And they also use spirits to do a lot of that too.
100%. 100%. You know, so I don't know, that may be something that you're really never made privy to, but maybe could be a timing thing as well.
Well, and according to this guy, a lot of the stuff we're not told is for our own protection. Like some of the questions we have, especially when it deals with the Templars and lines, you know, people that they get real. They're like, nope, you don't need to know that, and they just won't answer you.
Mm-hmm. So. Yeah, but if they are ready for you to have that information, though, now is not the time, because they would have said it. But who knows if they'll ever say it?
Yeah,
that could cause, if we knew too much, you know, because there are, you know, things that we can't see that are listening to us, you know, and protecting what they need to protect.
Yes. I agree with you 100% on that. Even there have been times where I've, you know, because I have incredible pieces of equipment that speak, and I have just been validated many times just through some of this, because I'm a researcher. It's what I do, right? So I cross-reference things. I try different techniques and such. And there have been more times than not because this kind of stuff I research where I'm told, you know, no, and they will go on to say things that lead the conversation away of it's not safe.
I've been told I'm too curious. Yeah.
But that's natural.
That's
healthy. Nothing wrong with a healthy curiosity, Teresa.
I squirrel on the other side as well, so don't feel bad.
Yeah.
I'm like all over the place and getting drawn back, going that, Amelia, you need to step down. Michelle will often say it. Get back in your circle.
It's hard to step down from it, because it's like,
that's down here. We're gonna have a freaking
tether. Yeah, it's like
I know. I get that tether on
the
there.
Thing that drives us. So
I'm very curious, and I agree with you. That really pushes your intuition. It makes you want to dig more, and sometimes you forget where you are. Like I forget if I'm in a dark area and I'm still going at it and going, okay, now everybody's seen me.
Yeah.
Time to protect the house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. It's just it's your human side. Yeah. Michelle's like pulling me down like a hot air balloon.
Off, Jesus.
Yeah.
I get scolded a lot.
Who you're dealing with, and it's just that curiosity. You want to keep digging, and you forget sometimes.
So does Michelle, but she wants me safe first. So
yeah,
like stay on the ground, okay? Yeah.
So
it reminds me a lot of Pandora's box. It's like once you crack that lid and you've got a little glimpse, you want to see the whole thing.
Oh, then I am Pandora.
Yeah. So I mean, I can see why she opened the lid. I would have wanted to know, but
I always,
then, you know. But I think, and I oftentimes think that was put there as a warning for people, you know, different paintings, different art. The famous alchemist, Fulcanelli, in his book, The Mystery of the Cathedrals, he mentions writing. He goes on and on, that old style of writing. It's hard for some people to get past because he just goes on and on. Kind of like when when I'm talking.
The high English.
Yeah, exactly. He mentioned in one of the chapters of this book that they put certain things, they would misspell certain words to confuse the mind of seekers. And that's where you get all these wild goose. I mean, you're on the trail and there's a million distractions that were put there on purpose to throw you off the trail. And those old wild goose chases were set up centuries ago, or if not longer. So but it also makes it more fun. You learn more as you go. And I think you grow as a person. I know this whole thing, even though I don't have all the answers, and I'll probably never get them all, it makes I've grown a lot as a person just throughout this whole thing.
Mhm.
So for
There's
that's a treasure in itself.
There's something to be said for, and you guys can, like, I'll chime in on this, but there's something to be said when you realize, when you're finding your ancestry and you realize there's something very special about it. I mean, we're all special, in one form or another. We're all special. And then there are those who make history, and all history that we grew up learning about in one form or another. And all of a sudden you realize, okay, wait, this is something pretty substantial. And then you start digging. I mean, for me, once you get that freaking digging bug, it's like your shovel's just not freaking big enough, right?
Now you know how I
Yeah.
feel when I'm flying. Michelle, can you describe Rennes le Chateau for everyone? Because we were on that thing of having signs and different types of scribe and things like that in these cathedrals.
Mm.
Can you speak of Rennes le Chateau and how
Rennes le Chateau is quite unique, but it wasn't built like a cathedral per se. I mean, it was a Roman stronghold way before, back into the 13th century. So what you see now, of course, is a lot different than what it would have been even in the time of the Essenes and things like that. But when you walk up onto this hill, I mean, you really walk up. My grandfather would always say, don't go in the winter. It's really hard to get into it. I'm just like, okay, I'm not Indiana Jones, but I'll give it a whirl, right? Then I got through the summer and kind of went, okay, now I get why I couldn't get here in the winter. They tell you these little tidbits. But you go way up, up on this hill, and it's this tiny little town. And you could see what Saunier has built and such. And you have this tiny little church that was in disrepair, to which he repaired. And you can almost have to neglect the tunnel that's there, what he used to go down into to make his way to the cemetery. So we just pretend that's not there. But it's got beautiful, it's very picturesque. It's beautiful. The paintings of Mary Magdalene, her colors, loaded with spirits. We weren't allowed into the cemetery thanks to the stupid Da Vinci Code movie. Everybody trying to get in there and causing a lot of damage. So it was closed off. But it's really a unique location, and it goes down like layers down. And I just had that validated to me recently. Actually, it's amazing to the people I know who just come up at the right times and say, "Oh, hey, did you know?" And I'm just like, shit. Now I got to go back because now I did not know that. But you make connections, and much like yourselves, you guys, the three of you guys, come together and things get resolved, and that's the journey will always continue. I think is the point I'm trying to make. The shovel is never big enough.
I really do believe that too.
Be enough. Right.
I believe that wholeheartedly, that it's just an ongoing.
I used to email Henry Lincoln a couple of times before he passed, but he was a real nice guy. He answered my emails. I didn't expect him to, but he had a lot of the his templates. He would work on templates. It was usually like a pentagram overlaid on the map, stuff like that. But he was also working on templates in Norway, where there were a lot of Templar chapels in Norway, and I didn't know about that until I read his. It was a website, and he had written a part of it about the chapels in Norway. So I'm wondering if there's anything there too of value that ties in with the Rennes le Chateau legend.
Well, for sure, because you're going back to the whole Sinclair clan comes from Rollo the Viking, who was a Norseman.
Yeah, that's
so you're
true.
going to go to Norway. That's where it all began, right?
True.
So if you look at Rosslyn Chapel, it's an exact replica of where Rollo is buried in a larger cathedral in Normandy.
That's true.
It all ties in right into the New World when you had, Henry Sinclair who came over. You had Vikings who came over before then, who gave them the way in.
Yeah.
Told them how to get here. So you would find all kinds of ties there, because even when the Templars were rounded up, Manny went to Scotland and fought with the Sinclairs and Robert the Bruce, who was also, connected in there. And next thing you know, you've got Templars incognito with the Vikings, essentially.
Oh,
Yeah.
Isn't that great?
Bruce is such a phenomenal story.
I love
And-
history, man. I could just go.
Yeah,
And Rosalind Chapel has every different faith
Right.
in there, respected.
Mm.
I need to visit Rosalind Chapel one of these days. Teresa and I have been wanting to do that for years.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Maybe
It's
we'll see
beautiful.
you there.
You get
Very
very limited
wanna go.
time, but they have a portal there too, which is great. So Alan wants to hear more about Teresa. Teresa, why don't we go back to your humble beginnings and tell us about yourself?
Oh, well, there's not much to say really.
Alan wants to know.
I started early, when in my college years with my mom, just getting into the research, and it's just had me hooked ever since, to the point where it's just like Stevie Nicks. I saw that. I love Stevie Nicks. Thank you.
We're all love and light here.
I love Stevie Nicks. But yeah, I've been hooked ever since. My mom got me into it.
Right.
And it just, ever since then, it's just consumed us. And I think it's kind of hurt me with my life. I have to work. I have to pay my bills. And it's like, I can't ever really focus because it's my mind is always on this. So
Yeah.
I'm always getting in trouble at work because I'm
Right.
all like, I'm not focused.
Right.
Oh my
right.
gosh. You don't
It's
have
like,
a
I have
job
bigger
back.
things to deal with, people. Come on.
I have a story to tell.
Now, don't you know I'm on a quest?
Yeah.
I'm on a quest.
Yeah.
Yes.
with
Don't
you.
mess
A
with the
quest.
quest.
I
Right.
love that. And I do
Same.
feel like it's a quest.
Absolutely. You're
It
part
is.
of this. The three of you are part of this story
Oh, yeah.
because you're living history, right?
We've met
You're
so
rewriting
many
history.
interesting characters throughout this whole thing. I never thought possible. And it's just been amazing. I wouldn't change it for anything. And if
love
I
that.
ever get reincarnated, I hope I come back to the same story.
Aw.
Hopefully,
Wanna come back to this.
hopefully you'll be a little bit further along.
Hopefully, yes.
Yeah, hopefully. But
That would be
everything has its moment.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely.
So, Heather, we'll talk about your little humble beginning now. I'm trying to get in little tidbits of everybody. So, were you always, I guess, aware, gifted? Do you know from the time you were a child, or is this something you developed later in life?
I wasn't aware that I was gifted until I hit kindergarten, and my mom got called to the school.
Uh-oh. That's never good.
Yeah. So, I thought everybody could see everybody who I was talking to.
Yeah.
And I guess my mom just thought I had, imaginary friends and, would talk to myself playing Barbies and stuff. Well, I was playing Barbies, but I was playing with people,
Right.
it was always a good time. I was the only child for 12 years. So I always had a good time. And then I would say when I was about 10-ish, I guess, I kind of turned it off because you don't want to be that weird kid, and no one really understood what to do with me. My mom kind of, I would tell her things about like what her grandmother would, messages from her grandmother and stuff. And I think it kind of scared her a little bit almost. And she didn't know how to handle me. And make it seem like it's okay. Like this is a gift. This is normal. This is fine. Well, I say normal. It's not normal, but I understand that.
Right.
But it wasn't until about 5 years ago, I guess. 4 years ago, my daughter was born, and my daughter is actually a member of my soul group, my primary soul group.
Mm-hmm.
And so after she was born, it the veil was just completely thinned. And so it's easy to get names and, things like that. And then they would come around more, the soul group would, because there's two of us right here and we're together.
Right.
But yeah, I can see them. I can hear them. I can touch them. And I didn't know that until not even that long ago.
Wow. And
yeah,
what is that like?
it was just like a normal thing. So what happened was my spirit guide and I, we were sitting outside talking. This is crazy.
I just love it. Just having a coffee, having a chat.
Yeah, we were just hanging out and we were talking because my spirit guide's like the sister, the annoying sister that steals your clothes and doesn't return them on time, you know.
That bumps you out of the picture.
Exactly. Yeah. She would step on your feet and everything else. But we were sitting there talking and she was wearing this very pretty skirt that had like a hem on it, and it was like different thread and things like that. And I was telling her how pretty it was. And anyway, she was like, do you want to touch it? Sure. You know, I never thought about actually reaching out and touching. I don't know why. I just never did. So yeah, I could feel it, and it felt just like, you know,
touching a person or touching like energy.
Now, she shows up as a person. So like, if I'm talking to them, it would look like, you know, like I'm talking to you.
Yes.
So it gets really confusing. Like if I forget to turn it off mentally, like if I'm still kind of talking to her in my mind, not out loud. If I'm in the grocery store and I start seeing people, or you know, like, are they really
strange? Yeah,
it's a good way to clear the aisle.
Yeah, it's crazy. And just the other, like a couple months ago, I was on a cruise and I was talking to this man, and he was so cool. And he was actually talking about how he lived by the Chisholm Trail, and he was in Oklahoma, and he was talking about Dan's books of all things. And he was talking about Jesse James. And I was like, oh yeah, you know, but of course, you
I know that guy. Yeah.
Trying to keep the conversation going. I was like, yeah, I like Butch Cassidy a little better, you know, just
that's funny.
And so we were talking, and then I waited for this man because I was trying to introduce him to my husband, and I never saw him again, like ever.
Did he give you any information in that conversation other than, you know, I like the books, or who he may be? Maybe he was like saying, I'm glad he's writing, continue this kind of thing. Did you get anything from that? Yeah.
He was saying that he wanted to read another one. He wished that Dan and Teresa would make another book.
Oh, that is so cool. Yeah.
I know, but it's cool. But I was sitting there talking out loud on
to
a cruise.
person.
Right. And so are you.
Kind of like the movie Ghost. You're kind of like Whoopi.
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
That's a good way to clear a space.
It's amazing. I love it. I need that talent because, yeah.
Yes. Wow.
Well, when she told me, it boosted my ego. I was like, damn, a ghost in the Caribbean on a cruise ship knows my book. That made my day. So
that is so funny.
But that's what's interesting about that is that, like, was he aware that he was passed on? Because he could have been hanging with Jesse James and Butch Cassidy right there. Well, Butch Cassidy, because we know he's still around.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I thought he was just a person that was on the cruise ship with me. I didn't know that it was a ghost. So I was sitting there talking to myself, essentially.
Yeah. That's hard. That's hard.
That could be
awkward. You sound like you got a great sense of humor with it by now, though.
But I mean,
oh my God, that's hilarious.
Thinking back, there was people that were sitting by me that moved. So maybe it's me. I don't know.
That's okay. That's okay.
That's the best way to do it, though. But there's nothing wrong with being that weird little kid. I was a weird little kid. My mother was just, hey, don't talk about stuff like that because they're going to think you're just a strange child. I am a strange child. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'm a strange adult.
Normal is boring.
Why are we the strange child? Why isn't it that like we're the normal ones and everybody else is strange?
Yeah, I wondered that myself. I don't know.
Right? Because why does it have to be that we're strange?
Yeah, it's just taboo topic that, you know, talking to the other side and to ETs and things like that. That's not normal. Yeah, it's not.
No, it's true. What, you know what, though, that leads me to think, like, have you had ET experiences as well?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I can hear them. And I've seen just a couple. ETs are not my forte.
Right.
They kind
They're
of,
not a lot of people's
I was
forte.
just gonna say they're not. Yeah, they're not.
I don't
easy
mind them
to
so much,
understand.
but yeah.
they kind of
Yeah.
frighten me a little bit. I guess
I'm with
because
you.
it's just the fear of the unknown. But like, I know that, there's some races that are not nice, or darker than the other races. And I've talked to some of those darker ones before.
Yeah, like people, yes, but we don't invite those kind of people in our homes, and these type of
Yeah.
aliens enter.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then there's the other kind who are
Yeah.
like, they're nice. And like, in my mind, I know they're nice and I know they're not going to hurt me and they're not going to do anything. And every time I talk to them, they just ask me for their help. Well, for my help to kind of relay their message of what they're trying to say to the world,
I love that.
But it's just it's a thing for me. Jack and John, and they know this because we talk about their documentaries, and I'm like, no, let's talk about something else.
We're not doing it. No,
we're not doing this today.
I did a documentary on that. It's going to be released soon, actually, on dealing with ET, because it's very new for me again. And when I say that, it's because as a child, which is why I thought you would have had experiences maybe even as a child, because I suppress those memories. Or maybe they just suppressed them for me, thinking, I wasn't going to be about it. And I don't know. Maybe I would have been a little friendlier as a child with them than I was throughout a good chunk of my life. I didn't start getting a little friendlier with them until maybe the last 4 years. And it's been a stretch. I'll tell you what, it's been a stretch. I had just done this radio interview for somebody else a couple weeks ago. And we were talking about different 18. I said, oh, yeah, I've heard this like clacking kind of clacking sound. It goes, I said, I'm assuming it's a gray or something traditional ET. Oh, no, those are mantis. What? So you're telling me I'm trying to bug in my space? See? Because, but they're very friendly. It is a giant ass bug in my space.
Yeah.
Like a praying
It's hard.
mantis.
Everybody has different
the mantis,
experiences with different races.
But apparently they're just so gentle. So I understand what you're saying, Heather, about, I understand like they were very friendly and I probably had nothing to worry about. But I think it's that fight or flight, right? You just see it. And it's like, okay.
Nope.
Yeah. But what's crazy is like I can talk to spirits all day long because they look like humans, and we're used to seeing humans and speaking to them. But then as soon as a gray comes down, or God forbid a reptilian or something like that, I just I freak out.
Right.
Yeah. It's also, it's normal because I feel the same way. So for me, that's normal.
So you understand.
I do have a thing with that. And whenever Michelle would ask me to communicate, I'm like, do I have to? Because
I've had growlies at me all the time, forever. So
growlies, yeah, but I'm talking about like the CT thing was new to me when I met you. It wasn't a thing.
No,
I'm the one
I'm
who made her
it.
ET behind
just talk to it. No, I'm not talking to it.
No, not talking to it. No, nothing here. Nothing to see.
No.
I always say, because people have said to me, oh, you've had experience. I'm like, I thank God every day I can't remember it. That's all I'm going to say, because it's not my thing. It's not something I want to know, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I've had someone ask me if I was a hybrid, and I was like, no, absolutely not. And they're like, well, you wouldn't have these gifts probably. I'm like, no, I'm so
I definitely have those gifts.
Yeah.
So, a lot of contactees and experiencers will be, especially if you have abilities. It's what they're apparently looking for. I don't know how many have come out and said, oh, all of a sudden I'm psychic. I was like, great. So, but so I think it's just trying to develop a lot of the, telepathy and communicating with them. I mean, we've had them around, the last few years. It's like, okay, great. They show me great things. They teach me great things. It doesn't mean I like the intrusion. And finding out 2 weeks ago that those little clicking, clacking things that I've been hearing is a giant ass praying mantis and not a cute little gray. That's a bit of a problem with me.
That would scare me.
Yeah,
That would
see?
scare me.
Yeah, see, well, just the other day, I was at the store and I saw one of those like praying mantis about that freaking long on the window, and right away I backed up. I'm like,
Well, I like the little
I've
ones
got this
because they're
phobia
cool.
thing now.
The normal ones, the normal praying mantis is cool, but a giant one would just freak me out. Because
I took a good look at one because it was
what
right in
they
front
do
of
to
me.
their food. Yeah, they mate and behead the other one. I mean, that's messed up. So,
That's a female. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't
Not
know.
that messed up. I mean, the black widow spider's like that too. Maybe us humans are missing something.
oh,
Wayne would like to know what blood type you are, Heather.
wow.
A positive.
Oh, see, Wayne, you got someone on your side. So is he.
Oh, negative.
And she's extremely gifted. He goes, I'm A positive. I'm just common.
You're O negative, Dan?
Yeah.
And Teresa, do you know?
I don't. I need to find out. I don't know what my blood type is.
Right.
Yeah. Well, if you don't, that's a good thing. That means you haven't had serious health issues, right?
Me?
I
Not
have
a
been
bad
very
thing.
so far. I've been very lucky and blessed in that area so far.
It's not a bad thing, because normally we know because we've been through something, or like I had to know because being pregnant, you're O negative. You need to know because that
anything negative doesn't matter. Oh, whatever.
Yeah.
You're negative, and and you marry or have a child with a positive blood type. But the theory is why we're asking that was because the theory is that nobody really knows where it comes from, and they believe that it was introduced by an extraterrestrial race roughly 20, 30,000 years ago. One of those missing link things, So much like
Our mom was RH negative.
Well,
that's
that's
what
O
we
negative.
were. RH negative.
That's what I have.
Mom was O negative. I'm O negative. And like you were talking, the Basques. There's a high percentage in the Basque community in Spain. I thought that was
high.
Actually, that's funny because my mom, my great grandmother, is from the Basque region.
Wow. Yeah. That's a
So O
friend.
negative is the universal donor. Is that right?
That's right.
So that means if
they can give it,
that I
but they
could
can't
potentially get Dan's blood.
No, I won't give it to you.
You can take as much as you need.
It's full of whiskey, Heather.
Yeah, but it'll help. She'll need less painkillers.
Let's
hope that never happens and you don't have to. Let's hope that never happens.
I would give you blood.
Universal donor. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, we can't receive anything but negative.
Bag, I'd be like, no, thank you.
That's right. Well, you see, he could only get blood from another.
Yeah.
Oh, negative. Yeah.
So you would need myself, or if Teresa ever finds out.
You can get blood from any negative blood
Teresa
type.
might not be finding out because she doesn't want to give you blood, Dan.
Yeah, she doesn't want to. She's
I need to find out. I really do. They do free blood drives at work. So
yeah,
I need to do it.
I found out because I went through a surgery that I lost a lot of blood in, and that's how I found out. The doctor said to me, we had to test you, and this is something you should know, and you should be, like, I have it on my medical alert. Like, you need to have that with you. I'm like, great. But until I think I was 15 or 16 when that happened, I didn't know. That's why I said it's a good thing when you don't know.
Well, I'm surprised, because having children.
Which my mom was O positive.
Yeah. Right.
Wow.
Yeah. Both my parents were negatives.
No,
so in the time, the doctor used to just scratch his head. He goes, and because back then there was only 3% of the world's population, aging myself a bit, but way back in the day, there was only 3% of the world's population were negative blood types. And a good chunk of them were at the Basque region, I'm sure. So the doctor, like, how the heck did you guys find each other? But it was the same thing with my grandparents. And then my father's side, same. So how weird is that?
Wow. See, my best grandmother comes from my mother's side, not my dad's.
Yeah, see, crazy. I don't know. Yeah. I think there's a lot to be said for, the genetics and where we come from, and, mixed in with some past life stuff and some ancestral imprinting and such. I think sometimes we mistake things that happen to us, thinking, oh, must be a past life, or really it could just be, ancestry.
I think a
Crazy
lot of
things. Imprinting.
yeah, I think a lot of that happens often when you have what's it called, when the child is just totally gifted, where they're picking up playing
Savant.
Mozart. Yes, I think that is a lot of genetic imprinting and really strong.
That could also be, I would think, past life, because you see some children who come into this world and parents are like, I don't know where it gets us from.
Yeah, like old souls.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even with the children that passed and came back, like they had the whole near-death experience and they come back, those children that I talked about, I think it was last week, I bring it up all the time, where they all painted Jesus in the way they saw it, and all over the world it's seen the same way, but none of them were artists before the near-death experience. But yet you see these portraits that they've created and painted, and you're like there isn't a detail missed, not a glare in an eyeball. That takes years to establish that kind of talent.
Might be a good question for Heather. Do you think it could be part of a soul circle?
The
Like
kids that were
connections.
drawing?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
But you know,
Because
like,
they all painted the same portrait.
did they all have near-death experiences, or just they
Yes.
just painted it? Okay. Well, I know, like, he meets them, you know, and so if that's a thing that you're going to remember, then that's going to stick out just clearly.
It's
I
fascinating,
imagine,
isn't it? Yeah.
I think I love it.
Mhm.
I love it. I just love that things are very, very present. I've had incredible spirit paintings done. Lilydale is a great place to decompress, and I've met incredible spirit artists there. And the readings take about 4 hours because they're painting while they're going. And when you turn around and when you seeing the result of all of that, and knowing now everything that I know, I recognize. And a lot of these people, because I mean, Dan, Teresa, we've talked about this before, and there they were, and others, like past lives, and it's just
yeah.
crazy. But I love, I guess the point I'm trying to make is how they come through for you, and give you those validations. So why can't we just come to this life knowing? Why do we have to
go
Heather,
through?
come back, Heather. Yeah. Why?
That was
why?
the same question I've had for before. Is why
Yeah.
why do they wipe your memory before you come back?
Maybe you asked for it.
Yeah,
I know. I know.
I didn't think of that.
I don't want to remember
There she is.
anything.
This is, we had a question for you. You disappeared.
Sorry, someone came and was like trying to get my attention, and so I was like, I will say it in just a few minutes, and so they turned off my thing.
Oh, so
They wanted it now.
John's tapped
Tell
into you.
us, tell
Heather,
us.
is anyone with you right now?
Yeah.
So I think this is like a passerby. So passerbys to me are people who they probably know someone that you know. So I'm trying to see what Michelle. You have a friend named Gwen.
Gwen?
Gwen.
Gwen.
This is her husband, Derek.
Okay. But
So-
I know a lot of people, so it's very possible. Offhand,
He has a
I
message.
don't remember. I don't know.
No,
Maybe.
he's just listening.
Yeah.
He's just saying hi, like I'm here, I'm listening. And
Interesting to see if Wayne knows.
Yeah, maybe.
He's in the chat room as well.
Yeah, maybe. Chime in there, Wayne, because I'm just totally. I don't. I know so many people.
Is there a Gwen? Well, I don't want to give out last names. So
Yeah, that's okay.
mind,
That's okay. I appreciate that. That's okay. That's interesting. People, I love how they just come in and they piggyback out there and just get the shoe in, and
Oh, I love messages because, like I said, I don't get them often, so I love hearing them.
Yeah, I find that where I feel bad is I've had a lot of past life people come forward for me, but then there's the one. This is what I don't like, not being able to remember. We should be able to come. I mean, maybe as children we come into this life knowing. I don't know, But as we seem to lose that moving forward, and then I sit back and I'm just like, God, and here I have this past life person communicating with me, and I feel like a schmuck having to say, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Right? It's sad, because I mean, this person is like, oh no, you remember me? And I was like,
I'll tell you, there was one we were talking with Heather a couple of months back, and I just mentioned another he was before the Old West, actually. It was a famous, infamous highwayman named John Murrell. A lot of people called him a land pirate. Well, he supposedly killed a lot of people, and he would bury treasures. And I just mentioned it. Heather hadn't heard of him before, and that's all I knew about him. Well, she said there was a man standing there right while we were talking about him. It's like it called him up. She said he had a head in a jar, and he had a tattoo on his finger. And I thought, that's weird. So I looked up anything I could find on John Murrell. He had his finger tattooed for being a horse thief when he was a kid. And that when he died, somebody took his head off and took it to a museum. And he was mad that his head wasn't with his body.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, that's just
I'd
wild.
be mad too. I can't blame him.
But the fact that she saw the tattoo and she'd never heard of him. I looked it up, and he had a tattoo on his finger. I think it was HT for horse thief. And I just thought that was really, that kind of stuff just blows my mind.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Heather, I have to ask you, because I know now I believe who you're talking about. Famous?
I don't know.
Okay. Last name
starts with a J.
Oh, J. Okay. No, that's different. Okay. I'll have to keep digging.
Could be an A.
Okay.
And I would
If
have
it's
a
an
lot of
A,
fun
I
in
know. If
Salem
it's an A,
together.
I know. I know exactly who. If it's an A.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. That's very peculiar to me, but hey, Derek.
I'd have
I
a
don't know
lot
why
of
they
fun.
do what they do, but
They do, yes. I'm sitting there going, wait a minute, I do know. It's just like very much in
It takes
passing.
a minute.
but-
Sometimes, like after the show, then it'll click because you're on
it
air and
totally
she's thinking
clicked.
of everything else and
No,
producing.
because I keep getting this face, and I'm just like, why are you
Yeah.
here?
I'm going to take Heather to Salem with me next time I go because I
That's
think
a
we'd
bucket
have a
list
lot of fun together,
Yes.
you and I. Sorry, guys, you're not invited.
Thank you, Alan. You're welcome in the chat room anytime.
Just Heather and I.
Well,
Just
oh my
the
God.
energy between the two of us would just drive everybody crazy, and it would be a lot of fun.
it would be. That would be amazing. An
Right?
amazing trip.
Never know. Maybe I'll meet you there. I love
Yes.
Boston. So are you far from there without giving away where you live?
Oh, I live in Texas.
Okay,
Right.
you're not
A
too
little bit
bad.
far, yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little far.
A couple
Yeah, a
hours
little
on the
far.
plane.
Yeah.
Hey,
it's fine.
Yeah.
one of my dearest friends is from Texas, and he's in the south of France right now. So
Yeah.
it's nothing, just hop, skip, and a jump.
And
so,
funny
yeah.
enough, he does marry Magdalene Schwartz.
He does.
Wow.
Very dear friend.
Yeah.
That'd be really cool to do too.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something about my family that just because we're saying Mary Magdalene, my great grandfather, my family built Pisa, but Giovanni Pisano actually was the first person to ever paint Mary of Magdalene and hang her in a cathedral. But that painting went on auction, and then I lost it. Like I lost track of it.
Mm.
I would love to see that.
It's beautiful. You can
private art
Google it,
collection,
but I
yeah.
mean, it's just based on whatever energy he felt. I don't know how he came about it because originally he was a sculptor like his father, and his father continued this work of Pisa almost 137 years after the first person who started in that marsh with the architecture, which was Bonanno Pisano, and he was buried at the foot of the bell tower. And the sand all came from Jerusalem, and it's around the time of the Templars. And there's also Sean Williamson, who's coming on, who sent me bits and pieces of a book that confirms that they were a part of
Mhm.
So yeah,
Things
just
have
to
a way of
show
tying
you,
together.
Connecting to.
yeah, that's
See?
that's why I'm saying it, not for anything else, but
It's
yeah.
Everything
amazing.
And I
ties
can't
together.
draw to save my life. Let's just put it out there, okay? But my it skipped a generation, and some of my nieces are very, very talented
Just
artists.
send me a drawing. Okay. You can figure this out. It's like a stick person. I'm like, what
Yeah,
the hell
it
do you want me to
usually
do
is
with
a sick
this?
person, which is why when I work crime, I have a program that I just go in and click for suspects, right? Because
Yeah.
and when I did John Bonet, Bobby's like, what the hell is that? When I said I told you, I never claimed I can draw. Never. Okay, like I can get around it, but the funny thing is I can paint with a brush, but I cannot draw with a pencil. It's just something strange. I don't understand that, but I can take a paintbrush, not clean, but a lot, 100 times better than a pencil. But when he was testing
I'm that
me,
way
I was,
too.
yeah, when he was testing me, he was dying. I'm like, just let me get into the program and let me put everything for you forward with that, because yeah, you don't. I'm like, where's my sketch artist? Yeah,
I can't draw to save my life, but I can carve.
I love Bobby
wood
too,
carving.
Janie. Yeah.
Hmm. Well, we all have our forte, shall we say?
Yeah, drawing's not mine. I mean, I can't
mine
even draw a perfect circle. Yeah, I think
So-
it's patience I don't have. I think that's what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we're slowly coming up to the top of the hour. So, okay, what does everybody have coming up? Heather, I think I might know what you have coming up, and I don't even know if you're allowed to talk about it. But,
Yeah.
but we'll start with Heather since she's our guest of honor tonight.
Yeah, so there's just a few things I'm working on with actually J3 Films and Jack and John, and with Dan and Teresa and a few other people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Right.
I mean, it's just all a waiting game right now.
It is. It is absolutely, but it's going to be exciting.
Oh,
I
of
have
course.
absolutely no doubt. And
Yeah.
Teresa and Dan, aside from the project that you're working on with Heather, do you guys have anything else coming up?
Aside from that, I'm working on 2 books. One's nonfiction about the Pinkertons.
You're going down that road, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going. They were worse than any of the outlaws they chased.
I agree.
They were bad people. So I want to show just the truth, the unvarnished truth about what they were like.
Right.
And then on the other, a more lighthearted one, I'm working on a novel. The novels, according to my agent, novels are harder to sell, so that's on the back burner. I work on it when I can, but right now I'm concentrating on the Pinkerton book.
Wow.
And other than that, Teresa and I will be in Colorado at the end of the month.
Go say hi to Bobby.
Doing book signings. Bobby?
Bobby Brown. He was with he was on Dog the Bounty Hunter. Go by the shop. He'll take pictures with you.
Okay.
I'd love to meet you because I've told him that you've been on the show. He's in Colorado Springs. His daughter's in Denver.
We're going to be in Denver and then doing a book signing in Denver and then one in Fairplay, Colorado.
Okay, let me know when, if you remember. Maybe I should get Teresa to do it.
August 31st. The one
but I'll have to tell him ahead of time because he travels a lot, because they did reopen the case for John Benet Ramsey. So he's traveling a lot. He was one of the first homicide detectives on the scene.
Wow.
So
that would be really cool.
And I told him about you too. Like, he would be thrilled to meet you.
Oh, I'd love to meet him too.
At the same time as you guys are. Just let me know ahead of time and I'll make sure he's there.
Thank you. I'd love to meet him.
Oh, he would love to meet you. Are you kidding me?
Sounds good.
He can't say no to me, so just saying, if you're listening, Bobby, just saying.
So aside from that, Teresa, how about you?
I've been working on a side project with a specific person who has a lot of connections with Danny and I, and it's been going on for a couple of years, and I'm hoping it'll pan out soon, but it's kind of like a waiting game too.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm hoping it'll bring a lot of just some more answers that we're looking for. And I've been working on some side stories, trying to get that going. Have a lot of ideas in my head, but like Danny, seems like life just throws us all around.
Yeah, but
those are distractions.
Life is busy, but you guys, the three of you have been on a really exciting journey, and I'm really glad that you found one another, because you're obviously part of this. You have a strong soul connection, and you're meant to come together. You know, and I won't leave out Jack and John.
Yes.
Won't do that either. So
it's awesome, and we were so fortunate to have you night after, like 2 nights in a row.
Mark Eddy, we can't leave Mark Eddy out.
No, Mark
Eddy.
Mark is awesome.
Mark's
there
great.
You go. He keeps talking about digging this pit. I don't know.
It's an ongoing joke.
Right.
Yeah. He said it at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. He said it at the beginning of the show. But yeah, it was such an honor to have you all on at this, like the same week. And it's such a great honor to meet you, Heather. And thank you so much for that beautiful message from my dad. It's really touched me. Thank you.
Now I'm going to have to message Gwen.
Yeah.
What's up with Derek crashing my show?
Yeah, crashing my camera.
Right?
Yeah.
And
they can get persistent, right? Yeah.
Right.
They can be persistent.
We'll talk. Jack and John and me and Teresa and Heather had a phone conference, and Butch, and mostly Butch, it seemed like, would take over Heather's Alexa and start talking through it. That was wild.
That is cool.
Well, the next time he takes over, tell him to put in UPRN radio podcast, so all of your podcasts can come up.
Yeah.
That's just it. So, okay, Butch, make yourself useful. I love it. I love the connection that some spirits just get right in there, and it's just awesome. It just shows you that it just continues. And for people who wonder, does it go on? But even those who do wonder, you still always want that. You want that validation. You want to know that they're close. And I think that it's great that your family on the other side, with Heather, are giving you guys answers that you would not normally have.
Oh, yes.
Right. That was wonderful. Yep. So thank you guys all for coming on the show. Dan and Teresa, frequent flyers, and open door policy for Heather anytime she wants to come on and talk about something. So nice meeting you, and I'm really glad you could make it this time. And I hope you guys will all stay in touch, because when you have something coming up, then we'll just have to do it again.
Definitely. I would love it.
Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So I will be in touch with you, and I'll have numbers and stuff like that for you.
We also feel like y'all a strong connection with you two.
Like we feel the same with you guys.
Yeah.
A podcast. It's like it's a really nice feeling. So thank you.
Okay, you can come to Salem too.
Thank you. Dad's like, wait, me. Yeah.
I just feel like you and I in Salem would probably end up drunk at a bar. That's the only thing. And I don't even drink, and I'm getting that feeling. So
don't believe her.
Yeah, I would have to be the responsible one.
Right.
Yeah. I'm the cheap drunk. It's one drink, and I'm like, ooh, yeah. So
That's it. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for joining us this evening, and I hope you will stay in touch, and all the best on your projects moving forward, and have a blast at the end of the month when you are at your book signings.
Thank
you.
Remind me.
I'll send you an email with the dates.
Yeah, I was hoping. Okay.
I will too.
I'm just teasing.
I know. I'm just kidding.
She's gonna bug me about that from now on. They liked me better than you.
I know. I have brothers.
Like
That's why I did that. I know exactly what she's gonna do to you.
Danny tries to put me as like this pesky little sister.
Very mean.
Completely opposite.
Yeah. I understand. No, I
No,
get
she's
it.
a
I
good
get it.
sister. She's a good sister.
You.
Yeah. I have the opposite. They put me on a pedestal and then I ruin everybody's expectations when they meet me. What? I thought she was nice.
I ran a red light for him last night to get him to the emergency room. So
Whoa.
Aww.
I had to tell you to.
I did it.
I said,
did
run it,
it.
damn it, run it.
I'm such a cautious driver, so that I did that. So it speaks
Yeah.
volumes.
Yeah,
So,
thank you.
Exactly. Plus, if you got pulled over, nothing would have happened. They would have given
See,
you.
that's total sibling love right there.
Yeah.
yes.
They would
When
have
you run
given
a
you
red
enough
light, that's,
Yes.
that's a big deal, right?
I
At
wouldn't
least
for
we
my
got for
brother.
anybody.
I would never do that for my brothers.
Wow.
I'd be like 911, bro. I'll meet you there.
All right, I gotta
kidding.
close off. I
I'm
gotta
kidding.
close
Thank
off.
you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you guys so
All,
much.
all
Yes.
three of you.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
So much fun. Bye.
Well, everyone, we have come to the end of another awesome segment with some of our very favorite people. 2 nights in a row. How lucky are we? There we go. Anyway, next week, we welcome the return of another dear friend, Dolly Saffron, who's going to be filling us in on some upcoming projects. And one is really cool. And we're also going to use it as a bit of an open mic. She does get asked a lot of questions and wants to set the record straight on some stuff and make sure that all of this upcoming information that's starting to surface is going to be put out there, and no better person to do it. So Dolly Saffron. Thursday night, flip side, we have very first time, Kevin Estrella. He's just such a nice guy. I've done his show. He's just wonderful. And his show is called Pyramids on Mars UFO Radio. And he's got a whole lot of amazing information, tons of experiences to share. And some of it's going to be a little bit different, maybe something that you're not all accustomed to hearing, maybe something that maybe you are. So you'll have to just tune in to hear what he has to say. So big thank you to our guests tonight, Teresa Duke, Daniel Duke, Heather Besser. Thank you for joining us. You guys rock. You guys in the chat room always rock. And you just make it that much more fun to do. So thank you all for participating. And thank you to Folgers Coffee. Thank you to Justice Snicker. Thank you to Steve McGinnis. Also, you will find the archives. They'll be going up on Roku. You can find us personally, not just on YouTube, but on Rumble. Like, subscribe, share, comment. We love comments, and definitely make a point of always responding. So please do feel free to drop us a line. Let us know how you feel about the show. Anybody you want to see, any topic you'd like to talk about, or, everything. Just seek us out. Said, oh, Claudette, there you are, hiding. Didn't see you at all tonight. Anyway, have a great weekend, guys, and we'll see you next week. Take care of yourselves. Be safe. We want to see everybody back here next week. All right. Good night.